Robbins. Tony Robbins had this segment where he had a chance to speak with. He did a seminar, and I think in the seminar he asked a few people who had a situation where they didn't succeed, whether it was with a job, a promotion, a business, and a bunch of people put their hand up, and Tony Robbins said, "Why didn't you succeed?" Right? Why didn't you succeed? And they said they didn't succeed because they didn't have enough capital, they didn't have enough resources, they didn't have enough support,
right.
And somebody in the crowd yelled out, they didn't succeed because they didn't have enough Supreme Court judges. And I think it was Al Gore who at the time who ran for president, and Tony Robbins said to him, make a long story short, he says, you didn't succeed because you didn't have enough judges in your pocket. You didn't succeed because you weren't resourceful enough. You had the resources, but you didn't use all of them. You weren't resourceful enough. So sometimes when you look at all your situations, generals, when they go on a war, sometimes, you got to destroy the ship. You got to destroy the home base to let the troops know that there's nothing to come back to. Because sometimes when you think you have a plan B or an exit plan, once things get tough, you're going to run back to your plan B, or you're going to run back to your exit strategy.
Right.
Hey, what's going on, BYOT family? Listen, today we have a very special episode for y'all, episode number 2, and we're going to be talking about what? What are we talking about today?
Are you ready to burn all your boats?
Are you ready to burn all your boats?
Yeah.
Or are you ready to burn your boats? Which one? All of them, or which one? Just one boat, 2 boat, 3 boat?
Are you ready to burn all your boats? Okay,
Are you
not
ready
all
to
your
burn?
boats, but are you ready to burn your boats?
I'm ready to burn my boats. I'm hot over here. I'm burning up with this food. Listen, we got something exciting for y'all, man. Are you ready to burn your boats? This was an important topic for us because in order for God's plan to work, you got to be willing to put it all on the line, right? And sometimes we don't know how things are going to be. So instead of taking action, we basically take no action. What's your thoughts on that, babe?
Well, I mean, the first thing is, I think we should let people know what that means to burn your boats.
Okay, where that came from?
Yes.
Okay. I hope everybody's familiar with. So burning your boats basically is a metaphor for
All or nothing.
Are you willing to leave everything on the line because there's no turning back? And that's basically what we did. Would you say that's what we did when we left New York? We've been doing that for a very long time, just burning our boats on multiple occasions.
Definitely. We did that for New York. We did that for our business. We did that for different scenarios throughout the whole time I've been with you and you've been with me.
Right. So would you kind of just share with our audience, burning your boats, why is it important to burn your boats? Or why is it important to burn all other exit strategies, burn all other plan B, plan C, plan D, and just say, man, this thing is gonna work, or I don't know what the heck is happening, but this thing has to work. I know some people say don't put all your eggs in one basket. Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on that, burning your boats?
My thoughts on burning your boat is, what would I say that people would learn from it is focus. It's all about, focus, follow one course until successful. Although, I'm multi-passionate and I'm creative and I want to be able to do whatever I want to do whenever I want to do it. But it's very important that you make a decision and you stick to it. And so if you have a plan B to save you, that means that you lack focus in A and B.
Wow. Say that again. If you have a plan B, that means that you lack focus in A and B. That means you don't have enough focus on A and B.
Right.
Explain that.
Because you got to give your time to something. So it all depends on what you're giving your time to. So if you're giving your time all to A, then your focus is on A. Mm-hmm. As long as you're persistent, as long as you believe you can do it, and as long as you're taking the necessary actions and steps to get it done, it will get done.
Right.
But then if you're also like, well, I gotta do B too, A can still get done. However, B just took some of your time for A to get done fully, completely, as fast as possible.
Right, right.
So now, you're splitting your time to getting certain things done, when if you had burned your boat and said, yo, I'm gonna follow this right here, and this is it for me,
right,
then like that's it for you, and there's no plan B. And I just recently, it's crazy because I just recently started taking that advice for myself.
I was just gonna ask you this question, and I think I got the best job in the world because I get to interview my wife here in this show, and she gets to interview me too, and we get to. I'm so excited because we're gonna probably learn so much about each other on this show. Right? We're gonna learn so much about each other, and it's a different side of you I'm seeing. I know so many sides of you. Okay. Right? You're like, Felicia's my chief executive officer of everything. She's my marketing strategist, my brand strategist, my coaching, my assistant, my wife, my lover. She's the person who I do all type of stuff on, my hangout buddy, my drinking buddy.
All type of stuff what?
Yeah. But just really think about that. Can you recall a time when, because you just said if you're focused on B, you're not focused enough on A.
Right. And you could be focused on different things.
Right.
However, it's not 100.
Right.
It's split now. It's like
okay.
where it was 100, now it's 90, or it's 80, or it's 60. So your focus is not there 100%.
That reminds me of a time when I think it was Tyler Perry. He says, your focus is like a gallon of water. And imagine having to water, plants. Imagine having to water one plant. That one plant gets a gallon of water.
Right.
But now imagine having to water 5 plants. Right? Have to split that water through the 5 plants.
Right.
There's some people
and it's not a bad thing.
Right,
It's not a bad thing because, when you ask, are you ready to burn all your boats? Success is defined for each person differently.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? It all depends on what your end goal is.
Right. So what would you say is the benefit of burning your boat? What are some of the benefits you can tell that somebody will gain to just making a decision, not just a decision, a committed decision that this is what they're going to do, I'm going to go after it, and I'm just going to go all in? What are some of the benefits that you could say they can have from burning their boats?
Actually, if you go back, it's actually awareness.
Awareness.
Yeah, because now you're aware of the fact that, that you're burning your boats. And so what that will cause you to do now is be focused. Now that you're focused, that's the benefit. The benefit is that you're focused. The benefit is that, there's a possibility, depending on your action, that you accomplish what you need to accomplish quicker. Benefit is the fact that you're going to be more determined to get whatever it is that you have to get done. Because that's all that you got. You're focusing on A. So if you're focusing on A has to have an end goal in mind. So your goal is to hit the end goal of A.
Right.
So benefit is focus, benefit the fact that you could do it quicker, and benefit is the fact that you're going to hit your goal if you take the right actions to do whatever it is that you decide that you want to do.
Right. I love that. So can you put that in a true experience or a real life experience that you went through, a situation where you burnt your boat and it gave you awareness, it gave you focus, it gave you determination, it gave you everything you just said? Can you put that into a real life story? Tell me a story where that happened.
So I'm a nurse by trade, and I have, my nursing license, and going through the entrepreneur journey, sometimes it's not easy, we have bills, and we got kids, you got personal stuff that you want to do, etc. So, sometimes the money at the end of the week or at the end of the month is not summing up to everything that it is that you want to do. So I remember there was a point in time, you know, me having been working as a nurse for a very long time. I said, you know something? I got my degree. I can always go back to nursing.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you know, if times get tough,
Right.
I will never let my license lapse. I will go back and, you know, do a couple shifts here and there. Except this time I'm going in more as not an employee mindset, but more as an entrepreneur mindset, knowing like, yo, I just gotta take care of some stuff. So boom, boom, boom. Even though like, you know, really entrepreneurs, you're like,
you look beautiful, by the way. I'm sorry to interrupt your story, but I'm just sitting here. I'm just like,
thank you.
I am the luckiest guy in the world. So
thank you. Don't be making me blush, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, you could get some today. So definitely, my plan B was nursing. And then something happened. We had some financial difficulties, okay, or financial things that needed solutions. And the entrepreneur journey wasn't cutting the checks too quick. So I said, I got my nursing license, you know, I gotta do what I gotta do. These bills gotta get paid.
Right.
So I decided to, okay, let me go and do a couple shifts. Cause it's easy, you know, you download an app, you could go do a couple shifts at this hospital, this nursing home or private, whatever. Man, I downloaded the app, was going through the whole process, and there's certain documents that was needed. And I was like, okay, I got these documents. But then now, because I'm in a different state, they also required, because I haven't worked as a nurse for so many years, that I literally had to go back to school for a little bit.
How long you had to go back to school for?
It would have been at least 60 to 90 days.
You had to pay, or was it free?
And I had to pay out of pocket.
So you had to pay to go back to school in order to go become a nurse again?
In order to be able to work as a nurse again in a different state.
Oh, in a different state.
In a different state. Because if I was still in the state of New York, I could have just picked up another job.
Right.
But because I'm in a different state and I haven't worked as a nurse for such a long period of time, they needed to, you know, things change over the years, over months. So you got to go back and, you know, be able to know the rules again. And one thing that made me not continue with nursing is because I didn't want to go back to school. I didn't want to go back to school for nursing, which was in my dream job, etc. And when I saw 60 to 90 days, I was like, I'm trying to get paid in like 3 weeks. And you're telling me like close to 60 to 90 days, and I gotta go back to school, and I gotta pay out my pocket. I was just like, plan B was out. I literally cried.
Wow.
I cried because I know that I didn't want to go back to 9 to 5, but for it to be like either you do this or that to be able to do it, that for me was like plan B pulled underneath me. It was like gone, because I was like, I go back to school.
Like, if you want to get back to these boats, you're going to have to swim through the sharks.
Right.
You have to swim over this reef.
Man. And I was like, I'm not going through that again. I said, because that wasn't my dream career, but I did it because, you know, whatever. And then for me to hear that I had to go back, that literally took it off the table for me. And I said, okay, entrepreneur, this is where I'm going to get my trillions from. I got to make it happen one way or another. And what that made me do, it made me aware, number one, that you can't depend on a plan B.
Wow.
You feel what I'm saying? Because I depended on it. I think probably my whole entrepreneur career, because I knew that I had this active license, if things get bad, I was going to be able to use it, no matter what situation it was. And I still can.
Right.
You feel? I still can.
You just got to go to some school in a new state.
I know that. I don't want to do it, and I'm not going to do it because I can choose what I want to do, and that's not one of the things that I want to do.
So let me ask you a question on that. Do you feel like you are in a situation where you are fortunate to have an opportunity, but you're turning it down? Because there's people out there who would wish they had your opportunity and they would run with it.
I'm Haitian, you know. They don't understand. They're like, yo, first of all, we don't know what you do, number one, okay? And then we know you graduated, and how come you haven't been working how the hell do you live and pay your bills? Like, my family still look at me like, you can always go back. And that's another thing, you know, like, you know, my family always hold that standard, so it's always in the back of my mind too. But like, of course, you know, there's people who took their NCLEX. I took my NCLEX once and passed.
Right.
There's people who to this day took their NCLEX over 15, 20 times and for some reason they can't pass.
So let me ask you a question on this. I want to make sure I hit this because you said something about, you know, there's being Haitian, there's people who would love that opportunity.
Yeah.
And there's also people who are not sure why you're not using that opportunity.
Right.
So you have people who want the opportunity that you have, and you have people who feel like you are not using the opportunity that you have.
Right.
Being married, how does support from, you know, me or support from your partner or from your spouse or whoever you're with, how does support from the person you're with help you in that situation when it comes to burning your boats? How does that person's support help that person make that decision to stay committed?
It's huge. It's huge because, you know, I've been in relationships prior to being in a relationship with you where, you know, I've been with, you know, individuals that is like, I'm going to climb that ladder of the employment world for the next 40 years of my life. And through COVID, through a lot of, you know, things, you know, you realize like you can't depend on a job.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? So now, you know, coming into a relationship with somebody who has a driven entrepreneurial spirit, the support is very important because I'll have somebody who's comfortable with the fact that I work 9 to 5 simply say, yeah, just go back, you know, just go back to that. And then I would fall into the rat race of, it was still hard for me when I had a job to keep up with my bills. So what makes me think now going to get a job is gonna take care of what I gotta take,
right.
You know? So
3
it's
years
like
not having a job to change.
Right. So it's like the support is very important. And sometimes the support could be a little bit draining too. Cause you know, like, you know, when I decided I wanted to go back to work, you know, you didn't stop me from doing it. You was like, you know, at the end of the day, do what you got to do. But imagine if you take that 9 to 5 focus that you was going to do at your job, or 11 to 7 or 7 to 3, whatever shifts that you was working, and decided to give your entrepreneur journey that whole focus, then really think about where would you be.
I said that.
You didn't say it per se, but that's what you meant. You know, if I tell you what you said, if I tell them what you
Whoever
said,
said that is a genius. Whoever said that is a genius.
If, you know, if I took that focus, where would I be? So support is very important.
Well, what did I say? What did I say exactly? What were my words? What did I say exactly?
You said, first of all, you did this face.
I did what? You're gonna do what?
You're gonna do what? Like, why are you going back? Like, just take the same amount of time and just focus on this. Like, you know, and I'm just like, well, I got these bills to pay. And you was just like, yeah, but just stick it out. And a person who don't have a plan B, it's easy for them to say that. Cause you was like, no, this is all or nothing for me.
My boat's been burned. I threw some TNT, I threw some dynamite.
So
my shit sank a long time ago.
Right, and another thing in the Caribbean culture, we're taught security.
Yeah.
You know, why do you go to get a job? For good benefits, for good dental plan, for backup. Why do you get insurance?
Like, yo, me have 3 jobs.
Right. So just to be in a relationship with somebody who supports you, even if it was through 9 to 5 entrepreneur journey, whatever it is, it's important. It's very important. And if you don't have nobody to support you, what's in between your 2 ears is very important.
Wow, that's huge. That, you know, I know we're in a relationship, and I know sometimes we talk about a lot of these things. But to actually hear you say these things, you know, coming from what would you say, a futuristic point, because we said those things in the past.
Right.
And there were times when you came to me and you were like, babe, you know, we need to pay these bills, and you know, it ain't cutting it what we doing. So I'm about to go pick up a couple of shifts. Right. And, you know, I would never want to tell somebody to do something or to make a decision, because you have to live with that decision. But I also knew that as the man, or as the husband, or as the male in that role, the position that I had, I know my point of view. You listen to some of the stuff I have to say, because if you don't want my advice, you don't ask me. Right. And sometimes I try not to give you the answer. Right. I try to have you make the own decision yourself. On that one, did I answer for you, or I just kind of made you answer it yourself?
Okay, so when you're in a relationship with somebody long enough, okay, you know exactly what to say and how to say it for them to move the way that you want them to move without even saying it. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, did you say, hey, Felicia, don't go back to work. Just take this seriously, and the same amount of effort you was going to put for your nursing job to put here? No, you did not say it like that. However, I did receive the message in, you know, I guess without the actual words as to sit your ass right here, focus on this, and just get it done. You don't need to go back to nursing. Yes, you did, but you didn't.
Yeah, okay.
You know,
okay.
It was still respectful.
Right.
Because we never tell each other what to do. So you still just kind of gave me your insight, and I took your insight very seriously. That's all.
Yeah. You know, that's powerful. And, you know, mind you, I think at this time, when you were making those internal decisions, I was having my own decisions. I was burning my own boats.
Yeah, you've been burned your boats.
I was burning more boats.
But you was burning more boats. I don't know what other boats you was burning, but you was burning.
Felicia's undecided. She don't know what she want to do.
And I'm usually decided.
It's up to me.
Right.
If it's meant to be, it's up to me.
Right.
And I gotta go burn my boats for everybody.
Right.
But I want to ask you this because I know there's somebody listening. I know we have tons of amazing fans and tons of amazing supporters, and we love you guys, and we want to make sure we're kind of hitting some of the stuff that you're going to be able to use in your day-to-day life and your entrepreneurial journey, not just in business, but in your relationship as well, and on your journey, you know, that you're unfolding and growing. What were some of the things that, you know, what were some of the nitty-gritty, dirty, disgusting, devilish details, dirty self-talk? What was Dirty Dan? What do you call what's your negative alter ego called inside of your head? What do you call that person? You know, what were some of the negative self-talks that were going on inside of your head while we came through these times?
The negative self-talk is called Dev.
Dev? What was Dev saying to you back then? I know Dev never leaves, but what were some of the negative self-talk? And somebody may be on the line listening right now. This may be you. You know, if you're the kind of person that's having these thoughts, what were some of the thoughts that you were having? And then we're gonna kind of go over
thoughts in terms of, give me for what?
Self-talk. So like, you know, you came to me and we had the conversation about burning your bridges. And somebody right now may be in a position where they want to burn their bridges, right?
Okay.
And they're like, yeah, it's easy for you to say,
right,
but when I lay down,
right,
the noise in my head, the self-talk is saying this. You know, what are some of the things that somebody may be faced with where they say, yeah, I want to burn my bridges, but these are my barriers. These are the things. I'll burn my bridge, but what are some of the buts and ifs that somebody may be saying, oh, I can't burn my bridge yet because of?
Well, man, listen, it's
what were some of the things that was stopping
because
you?
I got bills to pay, because I got kids to feed, because they're about to take my car, because I gotta pay this school loan that if I don't, then there's a possibility that they're gonna is repo my check? It's
repo,
not repo.
Yeah.
No, for school loans when they take your money from
garnish
my wages, or it could even be the simple stuff, you know, the stuff that like I'm not gonna be able to eat. You know, like I'm not gonna be able ... There is so much. There is like that was talking in my ears. Okay, when I went to Damo, I was just like, what do you mean? Why am I gonna go to work? I gotta do what I gotta do.
Right.
I can't.
Have you seen the fridge?
I gotta depend on me right now, okay? I know that I'm alive. I can walk. I can see. I can do things. So I'm gonna do what I gotta do to take care of my family, including you. You feel what I'm saying? So I mean, Dev had a lot to say, and it's still not easy sometimes. It's still not easy. But like, how did I not let Dev talk to me?
So basically, Dev was saying, you can't burn your bridges and go for what it is that you want because you're not going to be able to pay your bills. You're not going to be able to pay your cars. You're not going to be able to take care of your kids. So basically, the reason why you had to burn your bridge was also the excuse of why you couldn't burn your bridge.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
And it's like people decide that they want they want to follow their dreams, or they want to go for whatever they're passionate about. And sometimes starting off, going for whatever you're passionate about or following your dreams are not going to take care of the necessary needs that you need to take care of right now, because sometimes it'll take time or whatever the case may be. But the following your dreams or following your passion is also what's supposed to take your life to the next level. So you're in a battle within yourself, knowing like, you know, if I did this, if I did that, I know like boom, 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 but my phone bill.
Right.
I need gas to get to work.
Right.
I got these tolls that I gotta pay with these cameras.
You live in New York City. Those orange envelopes.
Okay.
When we go to your house and see those orange envelopes, we know what's up.
Right. So it's like it's a constant battle, and the only way for it not to be a constant battle is knowing and understand that number one is the belief.
Wow.
That you're worthy and that you deserve more.
Wow. You are worthy and deserve more.
Yeah.
Wow. Man, this is so crazy, because I could ask you so much questions on here about this, and we may have to come back and do another episode on this. You are worthy and deserve more. So let's kind of just touch on that, because, you know, somebody out there right now is thinking that, hey, I can't go for the business that I want, or I can't move to the state that I want to move to, or I can't, you know, put my kids in the situation that I want to put them in, or I can't, you know, talk to the person I want in a relationship, and they may be having all of this negative self-talk. So like, tell me, how was it that you were able to wrap yourself around the situation and pull yourself out of the situation? Because I know you spoke to me about some of the things that you wanted to do when I said what I had to say, but if I remember correctly, I didn't dwell on it too much. And I made you handle that. And I saw you, it was like you was in a boxing match inside of your head.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, back then I wasn't praying for you because I didn't know I had to pray for you. So tell me, how did you win that boxing match? And, you know, is that boxing match still going on right now?
Well, I learned that, first of all, you know, like, God don't want us to be comfortable, right? And there's certain things that you pray for, and all prayers get answered. You may not be a fan of the answer that you got,
right? But
it got answered. So I guess I can say that for when my plan B was snatched up from under me, I think I had prayed and asked, you know, like, just show me the way. Tell me what I need to do. I want a clear, concise mental picture what I'm supposed to be doing. And then when it came that, you know, go back to the nursing, this, that, and the third, it was pulled up from under me. So I had to automatically go back to saying, well, Felicia, you asked for it, so there's your answer.
Right.
You know, I was still in turmoil because I'm just like, man, this is done. So this is like, okay, well, just go back. I'm not going to go back. So then it was more, you got your answer. And then I still prayed. I still was like, okay, well, is that really what you want me to do? Well, then go back then. So
would you say prayer is something that
it was prayer.
Can take, an action somebody can take?
It was prayer. It was also aligning my mind daily with the right things that were coming in. And I mean audio, I mean music, I mean reading, I mean affirmations, I mean like, I had to, at that point, I was already reprogramming my mind, but I had to go deeper into reprogramming. I had to make sure, like, because I would wake up in the morning and I would just make sure I play something positive. I would play audios, after audio, like YouTube University is it. Or, you know, podcasts. I would listen to a lot of podcasts of phenomenal women and men who's like doing, you know, things that I want to do, that I'm going to do. So it's like just aligning your day with straight positivity. Because
wow, that's powerful.
Because the devils are in the details. Devil's in the details. So what is the details of your day?
Right.
You feel me? Are you sitting there dwelling, crying about, you know, man, I lost plan B? Because back then I used to dwell on a lot of things, and I would dwell for days.
Right.
That would cause me to have depression.
Right.
So now I quickly, like, boom, can't deal with it. put something on, do something, go, like, you know, I have to keep myself active in a positive way.
Right.
You know,
right.
people can keep themselves active by drinking, by smoking, by doing certain things. I chose a different way.
Right, right. And it sounds to me like what you did, you said prayer, listening to audio, right? Listening to music. And it's so interesting because those things rub off on everybody that's in the environment.
Oh, yeah.
Because I find myself playing some of the music that you were playing.
I'd be like, oh, listen, he's playing Maverick City, okay.
You know, you said reading, affirmations, plugging into certain people on YouTube, podcasts. You know, would you agree with me on this when I say this? One of the things that you had to do when it comes to burning your boats is most people wait for things to be perfect, then they make a decision. Instead, what you did was you made a decision and then you supported your decision with prayer, audio, music, reading, affirmations, YouTube, podcasts.
It wasn't always like that.
Right, but you supported yourself with the external world to reinforce your decision.
Definitely.
Right, would you say you made the decision and then you made it perfect?
Yeah.
While some people wait for it to be perfect and then they make the decision.
But there's never perfect. There is never a perfect moment. You know, there could be, like, you know, when you jump a rope, double dutch, you know, it's like, you don't want to get smacked with the rope, but when you're about to go in, you're about to go in. It's never a perfect time to go in. You just choose which time to go in that's in your favor.
Now, favor external or based on how you're feeling?
It's based on external. It's based on how you're feeling. It's based off all of that. If you see, if you're about to go jump into the rope and you see some guy running down the street, are you still gonna jump in the rope? That's external right there.
Right. You see a car running down the street, you're gonna be like, hold up.
Right, you won't jump into the rope. But then it could be like the internal where you're like, all right, I'm gonna go in now, but I gotta wait for the rope to go up so that it don't hit me, or so I don't stop it along the way, so I could do my little 3-4 steps inside the rope. I used to be the type of individual that I would be able to do the best work when my back was against the wall.
Yeah.
I'm still like that.
It's so interesting because there's like studies about that say you actually do not do your best work when your back is against the wall.
No, there's sometimes that I did, and there's sometimes I did minimal. I did what was required.
Right.
However, some of my best work was when my back was against the wall because I had to use critical thinking. There's a goal that needs to be met, so I had to figure it out, be resourceful.
We're going to have to come back to that one. That's a topic that we're going to have to talk about. Are you better when your back is against the wall?
But I learned that's not the right way for me.
Right.
You know, it's like, why wait for your back to be against the wall when you can be proactive and make sure, like, you know, as much as possible, because you can't control everything in your life, but as much as possible that you have control.
Right, which makes sense.
And this is how I make sure to have control of my thoughts, to be able to understand, like, it's not the end of the world. Prayer, audio, music, reading, podcasts, and all these things, or else Dev is here. He's here laughing with me. He's like my best friend. He be like, sit down, let's have a glass of wine, let's talk, honey. I be like, all right. And he's my friend. That is my friend too, you know that, right?
That's all. Listen, as she's talking about that, you know, I want you, and this is something for our listeners and you know, our family. I want you to take a second, right? You may have to pause this, but I want you to take a second and identify the self-talk that you're having internally, right? Everybody have a group of people up there that they roll with, right? It's called your programming, it's called your self-talk, it's called, you know, somebody's in your head. And there's a book by Helm Stoddard. It's called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself, right? A very powerful book, life-changing. It's called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. What to Say When You Talk to Yourself. But we all have these voices playing in our head. You know, some people have positive ones, some people have negative ones. We have a little bit of both. Some people have more negative than positive.
Right.
And some people have more positive than negative. I want you to take a second and ask yourself 2 questions. You know, the self-talk that you're having with yourself, is it majority positive or majority negative? You know, is it more like, oh, you could do this, you could do it, go for it, you could do it, Or is it, you can't do it, you can't do it, I can't do it, you can't do it, don't try it, don't
Why
try it.
would you
just
think
sit.
that you could
Why
do
would
it?
think
Who do you think that you are?
Is it empowering or disempowering, right? That's the first question. The second one is identify who they are. And when I say identify who they are, identify who gave you those thoughts or who planted the seed that allowed those thoughts to come into fruition. You know, maybe when you were younger, somebody said something to you and that voice continually plays in your head, and just identify who they are, because I think once you have the awareness of what's playing in your head or what's playing internally, you can kind of address it once you know what's playing, because they say there's 4 levels of learning. There's you don't know that you don't know, you know that you don't know, and then you know, and then you unconsciously know.
Right.
So first we have to move from don't know you don't know to, hey, I know that there's certain belief systems playing inside of my head, and let me address them and identify them first so I could know which bucket or how to file them and deal with them.
Yeah, definitely.
So I definitely want you to try that exercise out.
It's powerful. And luckily he says it just right too, because it could be a lot.
Yeah, it could be a lot.
That one that you write is end up you going back years.
Yeah.
Years.
When I was 5, my mama said I couldn't be a singer, and now I hate singing and my voice is annoying.
Right. But then you probably have a beautiful voice.
Right.
You know, so it's like, take time for that, and maybe like probably just do it like once a day.
Right. And here's the last question, the last part of the exercise. You are influencing somebody's life. So number 3 is, what type of voice are you for somebody else? Are you an empowering voice or are you a disempowering voice, right? Are you that negative voice for somebody in your life, or are you that positive voice? So it's 3 things you got to do.
Another thing is like the empowering and the disempowering voice to somebody else's life. You know, I think like sometimes we want to fall under the notion of like, you know, I'm just keeping it real.
Right.
You know, I just got to keep it real with my friend, because I would never not tell her the truth.
Right.
That's also a point that you got to look at too. Are you being empowering or disempowering?
When keeping
because
it real
it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Right.
You know, it's the delivery of the message, because you think like being raw or keeping it real is like you know her hair looks terrible. Right. You're like, yo, they made a hole in the back of your head. Like, how you walking like that? Like, you know, like I could see your weave. Like I could see it. It's all about delivery. Hey, you know, I think like you should take a look at the back of your head, because, you know, like it just seems kind of like, I don't know if this is what you wanted, but take a look at it.
Right. They call it the sandwich. They say, and this is something that I'm working on practicing more. The sandwich. You give them one compliment, give them the feedback, another compliment. Right. So it'd be like, hey, Felicia, you know, man, I love the fact you went and got your hair done. You know, what salon did you go to? Right. You know, I went to the Dominican salon down the road. Wow, I'm really happy for you. Listen, by the way, did you notice that, you know, they chopped the back of your head and they left the big hole back there? I feel like, what? You should go back there and do the style, but do the style a little bit different, and, you know, get them fixed that. So, you know. Right. Or you're like, yo, you got a hole in the back of your head. What the hell is it? And you paid money for that? What's wrong with you? You crazy? You think this look good? Yeah. It look terrible. Damn. They're like, yo, but I'm just keeping it real with you. You're my friend, so you know. Right. I'm keeping it real. So yeah, it's all about delivery. Sometimes keeping it real keeping it real is just your perception of what real is and what you think will benefit that person. So, you know, just to kind of bring this home and wrap this up, you know, we spoke about burning your boats and why it's important and some of the benefits of burning your boat. If you were to leave a takeaway, you know, 2-3 takeaways that somebody can implement today. I know I gave them the exercise that they can do by asking those 3 questions. Right. You know, what's going on inside of your head? Is it positive or is it more negative? You know, who are some of the voices playing in your head? And what type of voice are you to somebody else? Are you positive or are you negative? I know we gave that. But just leave our friends and family with three things that they can implement today. You know, implement today could take them on a path to, maybe they're not ready to burn their boats, but maybe you can give them something to help them become at ease ain't gonna burn their boats, or what would you say? What would you say to them?
Write everything down. That's number
Write
one.
everything down.
Write everything down.
Write everything down.
That there are individuals who are unable to burn their boats right now. And unable could be me giving like a perception of saying unable, because like everybody's able.
Right.
But like
I was gonna say life could burn it for you.
Right. I'm speaking to the individuals who's like, yeah, I really, really want to. I've been thinking about this for like the past couple of months or even years, but it's just the security inside of them is like, no.
Mm-hmm.
I got this I gotta do. I got that I gotta do. Boom, 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 boom.
Mm-hmm.
Write it down. Whatever it is that you want to do. Because when you write it down, doors can open for you, and you want to be able to remember what you used to think about.
Right.
Or you want to be able to remember what it is that you dreamed of. Because life has a way of just like sometimes tearing your dreams apart and making it seem like it will never exist. And COVID, listen, we were at that time in a business where we had to sit kneecap to kneecap with people.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
COVID happened. Ain't nobody letting you in their house to sit kneecap to kneecap with them. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
We had people that we was like, yo, this is very important product. You need to get this product,
Right.
etc. They was like, yo, I will never lose my job. Barbershops were closed.
Right.
Beauty salons were closed. Taxi cabs, drivers were not picking up anybody. So it's like life will happen. You feel what I'm saying? And at that time, the people who had their dreams written down somewhere would make the vision plain.
Right.
They were able to execute that. And then there's some people who were unable to, however
Right.
the case may be. But number one would be write whatever it is that you have down. Write it down.
That's powerful. And, I love you said write it down, because when you write something down, that thing is no longer a part of you. It's still a part of you, but in a way, what you did was you brought it to life.
Yeah.
Because writing is a form of manifestation.
Right.
You made it clear or visible to the eye or the mind.
Right.
So by writing, you made it a reality.
Right.
It's just on paper. It's not in a tangible form yet.
Right.
But writing is a great way to start.
Yeah, and there's individuals who's not all about writing, but they'll take a note and put it on their phone.
Right.
That's cool too.
Just document it.
Just document whatever it is that you're thinking about or wherever you see yourself. Just
document your feelings and what you ideas.
Because let me tell you something. What you write, like me and my husband, I'm looking at certain things that's coming to life now. And these are things that I wrote 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. You remember the other day we was just like, man, like everything is just coming back around full circle.
Yeah.
You don't know when, and it all depends on your awareness and the actions that you take towards whatever it is that you want to do.
Right.
But they come back.
They do.
They come back when you're like, oh, I wrote this 3 years ago, babe. Look at this. So I would say write it down. The second thing is don't beat yourself up. Cause Dev be trying to beat me up and then make me beat myself up. So, don't beat yourself up. Understand that, you are powerful and you can do all things.
Right.
How much do you believe it? That you gotta work on, but you can do all things. Okay? Elon Musk, is it Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos? Which one went to space?
Well, they both got their own space. One got orange, blue moon. Right. And one got they both got spaceships. They both flying rockets up there.
Do you think that they were born to think that way? No. They saw the vision and they made it clear over time.
I would love to see some of their notebooks from when they were little kids, what they were drawing, what they were doodling, or what some of their things.
Right. So it would be don't beat yourself up, and then you said three things, right?
Yeah. What's number 3?
Number three is hold yourself accountable. It's easy to blame exterior things. It's easy to blame family. It's easy to blame your coworker. It's easy to blame the fact that you had a bad day. It's easy to blame exterior things, but if you take accountability to everything, which mean like, you know, something like, let's say that you're driving and damn, that your car stops on the highway. You know damn well you should have put gas when your heart was beating a couple of blocks ago. But you was like, I gotta get to work, so let me park up this car and I'll put gas in the car when I leave work, because I'm not gonna go on no lunch break, so I'm good.
Should've put gas.
Because you're like, yo, I know my car. And then you go to the parking lot and your car does not start. You know damn well. Now you can't blame nobody else but you. Take accountability that it's you. It's no one else but you.
You should have put gas.
You should have put gas. You should have. Now you gotta go find somebody or talk to a coworker that you're not a fan
a
of.
little thing for $15 at the gas station.
And you're like, damn, why is so much money?
That you're only gonna use one time, and then it's gonna have your whole car smell like gas.
Right.
Those are personal stories, by the way. Those are personal stories.
Follow your intuition, okay?
We ain't bashing y'all. We're just talking about our experiences. Because listen, that's the purpose of this show. The show is we really wanted to use, you know, our story and the story of others to inspire you.
Right.
And inspire, you know, just means to kind of start. That fire within you is already there.
Right.
You know, we just want to help throw some wood on that fire to get your fire burning and blazing, because you already have everything you need. Sometimes you just need somebody to believe in you more than you believe in yourself right now.
I have a question. Or since
You know,
we're about to end it off.
To the end, so please don't hit me with no.
No. I want to know what's your 3 things.
What's my 3 things?
Yeah.
My 3 things for somebody who is on the line and they need to burn their boats. I would say, number 1, you want to be proactive versus reactive, right? And either life gonna burn it for you or you gonna burn it yourself. Mm-hmm. So I would prefer that you moved on a situation, at least that way mentally you are bulletproof, and you may not be prepared, but things didn't go the way they didn't go because you made that move, versus you sitting down and this crap start happening to you. So I would say be proactive versus reactive. Mm-hmm. Because when you're proactive, you're advancing and you're anticipating and you're prepping and you're planning and you're adjusting. Right. When you're reactive, things are just hitting you in the face and you just like curled up in the fetus position and you just don't know what to do. You know, and usually when I see people who are reactive, they're usually complaining and they're asking, why me? Why does these bad things gotta happen to me? Versus people who are proactive, they're usually asking questions like, man, how can I get this done? You know, who do I know that can help me get this done? What else can I do? You know, you're more so, you know, how, who, what, when, where. You're more so seeking and solving versus sitting and squatting.
Right.
You know, I would say proactive over reactive is number 1. Number 2, I would say I'm trying to write at the same time. Number 2, that feeling, I would say, number 2, that feeling you got inside of you was put there for a reason. You know, I strongly believe that we were all inspired with certain things, and inspiration is just seeking expression. So that idea in you, or that hunch that you getting to do this one thing, that thing is gonna get done regardless. Right. It's gonna get done regardless. It's just a matter of, are you gonna be lucky enough to allow that thing to be expressed through you? And if you ever realize that sometimes you have a great idea and then you don't take action on that idea, and then you see somebody else act on that idea and you're like, yo, that was my idea. You know, because thoughts are not unique to one person.
Right.
You know, thoughts are like intangible things that, it's like Wi-Fi. Anybody can log on to the Wi-Fi once they have the password. Right. That's who we are. We all have the password to God. Right? We all have the password to God, and God is going to give us access to the information. The question is, are you going to use it when you get logged on? So you getting those inspirations is God trying to express through you. And when you don't express, he ain't gonna sit around waiting for you. He gonna put that idea into somebody else who
and
he
he'll
gonna
make
know.
sure that you see who did it too.
And he gonna make sure you see. He gonna make sure he rub it in your face. He gonna be like, this could have been you.
Right.
This could have been you.
Right.
This could have been you. But instead, you didn't want to move.
Right.
So I'm gonna bless somebody else.
Right.
And if depending on where you are in your life, that could be your last straw.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that could be your last means of communication with those ideas. You know, some people don't get a second chance to get those ideas, you know, depending on where you are in your life. And that's where we go into regret, which is the last one. The last one would be, I would say, go for it, because you're going to have better stories to tell. You know, we have 4 kids now, and we have lots of nieces and nephews. And one thing they always asking me before they go to bed is, Daddy, can you tell me a story? And sometimes I read the stories from the books to them, but the best stories they love is the real stories when I use fake names. And those are real stories, but those are the stories they love the most. Right. The real stories that I'm telling from personal experience. And I think I have enough stories to keep them up all night, but that's because I've been burning my bridges for a very long time. I've been burning my boats and just moving. Mm-hmm. You know, so look at burning your boat as having stories to tell. Because if you don't burn your boat, you're going to be telling a story, but you're going to be telling a story of regret, right? So you either want to be telling a story of how you were a champion, or how you were a warrior, you know, or how you was the king, or how you was the knight, you know, how you saved the world, or you saved the village.
That's the stories you be telling.
Yeah, that's the story I be telling. I be like, listen, man, I had to burn the ship, and I had to run out, and I had to fight like 1,000 troops, and I had to save the princess in the tower.
Oh my God.
Right? So it's either you had to do that, or you was sitting in your little hut, you know, saying, hey, I wish I could, and I wish I would.
My stories be mad whack.
You know, so those are the 3 things I would say, you know, proactive versus reactive, you know, God wants to use you to get that idea out. And if he's not able to use you, he's going to use somebody else.
Right.
And the last one is, you know, you're either going to be regretting, or you're going to be celebrating and telling some really dope ass stories. Right. You know, so listen, we really hope you enjoyed this episode once again. And, you know, burn your bridges, burn your boats. What the heck are you waiting for? Yeah. Right?
And, you know, he'll tell you to go burn your bridges and your boats, okay? And then end up sleeping in your car. Talk about why. And
throw some gasoline on that shit.
And it can end up being a blessing, but I'm going to tell you.
It ain't going to be easy.
I'm going to tell you, do what you know you're supposed to do.
Right.
Because you have the answers all along.
Yeah.
All along. Yeah. And I guess the next thing we're going to talk about is, are you resourceful? Yeah.
So listen, definitely, if you like this episode, you know, we got plenty more coming up for you. Mm-hmm. And in the next episode we have coming up, we're going to have some fire for you.
Definitely.
So yeah, let's do it.
All right. Peace.